Greetings and welcome to StageStruck, a production of the Cape and Islands Theater Coalition, a collaboration of 24 live theaters from Woods Hole, the Islands, to Provincetown. On this program, we'll be letting you know about what's now playing on stage at theaters across the Cape and Islands from our 24-member theaters. And we'll bring you the latest theater news, we'll take you behind the scenes of the theater community, and give you some of the history of theater on Cape and the Islands. I'm your host, David Kaplan, Executive Director of the Theater Coalition. I hope you enjoy the program and I welcome your feedback. Please email me at info@capecodlive.org with any questions, comments, or suggestions. Enjoy the show. I'm very pleased today to welcome Mark Cuddy as my first guest. Mark is the new producer of Cape Playhouse and Chief Executive of the Cape Cod Center for the Arts. Located in Dennis Village, the Playhouse is America's oldest summer theater. It is part of the Cape Cod Center of the Arts, which also includes the Cape Cod Museum of Art, the Cape Cinema, and a restaurant. Welcome, Mark. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about your background and what appealed to you about coming to the Cape Playhouse.
Sure. Well, it's great to be here. Thanks, David. You were one of the first people to welcome me last November when I got appointed. Right. It happened very quickly. But we've had a home in East Dennis for 3 years, and I am the artistic director and co-CEO of Jiva Theater Center in Rochester, New York, have been for 19 years. And during that time, my wife and I have raised a family. We've had a great life there, and I still am the artistic director there. But when the transition began to happen at the Playhouse in leadership last fall, and since I actually own a home nearby, this was my local theater here, and I did a workshop for the Board of Trustees, and they were quite interested in just what was going on in American theater and that sort of thing, and one thing led to another. So I find that my position here is a privilege to be the latest steward. As you said, we're the oldest professional summer theater in America, founded in 1927, and there are a lot of people who've come before me. I'm just building upon that and seeing how we can plan for the centennial, which is going to happen sooner than we think. Soon it's going to be 100 years old, and there's lots that I think we can do there to make sure it lasts well into the next century.
Oh, terrific. Let's hope so. And I understand you started as an actor and
yes, I know the way it happens. I'm from Boston, and I grew up, I was born in Dorchester and went to Boston Latin School. And as a high school, went out to UMass Amherst. I was just a regular guy. But I went to the theater program there, and I was an actor out in Amherst, but soon found directing really stimulating, and I would produce out there. I would do projects outside of the theater department. I would take over a barn or a dining commons or something, and I'd make a theater and make a production. And so that kind of led to just the life of leading theaters. I started to co-run a theater as soon as I graduated in 1976. And since then, 35 years of my 38 or 39 years in the profession, I've been leading theaters. That's sort of been my job across the country. California, Idaho, Colorado. I've worked all over the place.
And now back to your roots in Massachusetts.
And now back, so that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm coming home. It feels great. I'm out front most every night now at the Playhouse, greeting people as they come into the performance, and the number of people like, so are you? Do you know a Jim Cuddy? Do you know a Bill Cuddy? Do you know? And I don't necessarily, but it feels like they're my people, and I'm back in the neighborhood.
Oh, super. Great to have you. And
thank you.
I think you've already had one show this year, The Odd Couple. Is that right?
The Odd Couple and Freud's Last Session both got off to fabulous starts, really, really well reviewed. And great response from our audience. You know, my artistic philosophy is a balanced program. So we'll do comedies and dramas and musicals. I liken it to an investment portfolio where you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, you have a nice diversity, and as long as the quality is consistent from show to show, I think the different genres are stimulating to audiences.
Absolutely. And maybe you can tell me a little bit about the upcoming shows and what you have lined
Sure,
up for the rest of the season.
I'd love to.
Looks like you have a brochure here.
Well, yes, of course we have our brochures, but there we go. Well, you know, I brought a little fan here, and not only because it's starting to be real summer on Cape Cod, but our big musical of the summer is the musical 1776, which was set, of course, in Philadelphia Independence Hall. And, you know, when the opening number is a number titled "Sit Down, John," but one of the lyrics is "It's hot as hell in Philadelphia." You know? So I thought, and there'll be Congress people using fans and a lot of walking sticks, you know, when they're applauding people. Of course, they just tap the floor, and I actually brought a costume along, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yes. So you can imagine what it's like in hot, no air-conditioned Independence Hall with all the tempers flaring about independence from England. And then they're wearing, I'm going to reach over here just for a moment. Thank you. They're wearing really heavy clothes. And our actors, our poor actors, you know, they wear a shirt, a vest, and a big old coat. So I think it'll be quite warm, and then they have wigs. You know, it'll be quite warm on the Playhouse stage too. But that's good. It's going to sit beautifully in our historic theater to see a piece of history, American history, in this historic playhouse. Is really going to be quite something, I think. So that's 1776. It's one of my favorite musicals. It has a great story, of course, and it's written so well that even though we know we all did declare independence on July 4th, I swear, you watch this thing and you can't quite believe they're going to get it done. You know, right. There's no way that's going to happen. And there's a lot of drama is built up.
Well, it is a terrific show. I saw it probably 50 years ago on Broadway.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
yeah.
One of the first shows I saw, and I thought it really was.
Yeah, it's really fun. And it's funny too. It's not a dry thing. It has fun. It has great characters: Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin and John Adams and John Hancock and all the guys, and Abigail Adams, John's wife, who's gorgeous. And they had a beautiful love affair, and they sing beautiful songs to each other from afar, really gorgeous. And Martha Jefferson, who's just a delightful character, and comes in and kind of picks up everyone's spirits. So 1776 is the big one, and then after that, our romantic farce, which is called Perfect Wedding, which is set in an English country home, and the groom-to-be on his wedding day wakes up in the hotel room, going to get married in the afternoon, with a big hangover from the bachelor party the night before, and not only a big hangover, but a mysterious woman in his bed, and he has no idea who it is and how she got there, and so then all the lies and stories start to because the bride-to-be and the bride's mother is coming, and the best man, and everything, and everyone gets caught in this sort of really funny web. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah, those are the kind of two big fun shows in the center.
And then two more to end this season?
Yes, we're doing a terrific country music review called Pump Boys and Dinettes, which a lot of people know, and was done at the Playhouse about 28 years ago. I did a new production last fall. It was the 30th anniversary production of Pump Boys, and I'm reconstituting that and bringing that in August. Great songs, great picking, you know, a diner and a service station, and great fun.
And I heard it has a terrific director.
Well, that's what I have been telling people. I'm not sure. I directed it, yes. I directed it last fall up in Rochester at my theater there. And we'll be restaging it for the Playhouse. And the fun part about that is that you can actually, audience members can go up on stage at intermission and have a slice of pie and a cup of coffee from the diner. So everyone will be able to who can fit will be able to come walk on stage and get their pie, which will be fun. Sure. And then we end the season with arguably the most produced play of the last decade across the world, a play called Almost Maine, and takes place in a little fictitious town in the northernmost part of Maine, a town called Almost, so it's Almost, Maine. And it's a series of vignettes of love and heartbreak and very funny, and it takes place all in this little town on a Friday night in the middle of winter. And that's the end of August, and that will be sending us in towards the fall.
That sounds like a wonderful and diverse season.
Thank you.
Plays that a lot of people will enjoy. And I understand that really the Playhouse is more than just the 6 plays that you produce every year.
It is. We have a really vibrant children's theater program on Thursday and Friday mornings in July and August. But also I've instituted some new little extras for subscribers and donors to our Playhouse Club. They can come an hour before curtain time to any performance and have a half-hour background talk inside the theater about the show they're about to see, which I started doing 25 years ago out in California, and it's been a huge hit in every theater that I've been able to lead. And it's a way to kind of ease in. You can bring in with your cup of coffee or whatever, and and it's really nice way to learn a little bit more.
So are those talks by actors, the director?
Generally, it's an actor in the cast. With Freud's Last Session being only 2 actors. I've done most of them because those two, there's Sigmund Freud and C.S. Lewis, and we don't want to give that away. But for the larger casts, generally it's an actor, and they work from a prepared outline, and they're doing the context of the play and the playwright, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
And are there other benefits of the club?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. This year, we're nonprofit, like most of the theaters, and we rely upon donations. And if you contribute $100 or more to the Cape Playhouse, you become a member of the Cape Playhouse Club, and there's all sorts of benefits, all sorts of other special things. We just had a lecture about Freud from a Harvard professor who's super entertaining, actually, about Freud's life. He just came down, did that, and club members got in for free. And we're doing a new play reading in the middle of July, and then Gavin MacLeod is coming back to give a talk about his life in August. Those are free. We're doing tours on Saturday mornings now in July and August, and for club members, they're for free. And then there's just a token charge if you're not a member of the club. But then there are ticket benefits as well. But
it sounds like there's a lot of value there, and I think a lot of people in our audience may not understand that it's a non-profit theater. You can't make it just on your ticket revenue.
No. And that's the way for any producing theater, whether it's the Cape Playhouse or Cape Rep or any of the theaters in the coalition. They're all nonprofit, I assume.
Right.
Or up in Boston, the Huntington Theater or American Repertory Theater in Cambridge. These are nonprofits that need to make anywhere between 30 and 50% of their budget every year from contributions. It's extremely important. But what it does is they're tax-deductible contributions from the community. But what it does is also create that deeper investment and for someone in that theater. And I've tried to be as responsive as I possibly can now to everyone in our Playhouse community. So they hear from me a lot via email, and I'm out front of the theater every night. I'm just trying, that they have a way to voice their comments and questions.
I think people like that and like that opportunity, so that's terrific. And volunteers, is everyone paid at the theater? Or?
Yeah, it's a professional theater. We do have volunteer opportunities in ushering, and that had not been the case the last few years, but we have rebuilt a whole volunteer usher corps. And so we have a terrific coordinator in Betty Morse, and she does it for the Cape Cod Symphony, and she's doing it for us in the summer, and she's terrific. And so that's a great opportunity. And every 2 weeks we have a massive, changer of the set. This is summer stock, so we close on a Saturday night after it runs for 2 weeks. We open the next show Monday night, less than 48 hours, 45 or 46 hours later. And in the meantime, we have to strike the set, we have to load in the new set, we have to set light cues and sound cues and rehearse. The actors haven't been on stage, they have to get on stage and all that. So those Saturday nights, we also take volunteers to help us do all that changeover. Anyone like to join us?
I can imagine. So where's the rehearsing taking place while the other show is on stage?
Mostly in New York City. We cast out because that's where the Actors Equity professional actors live.
Right.
Because I've redone a few shows from Rochester, a couple of our shows, Freud's Last Session and the end of the season, Almost Maine, they'll rehearse up in Rochester because one of my directors on my staff up there is directing those two shows. So it's just easier to do that up there. But the other shows rehearse in New York City.
Right.
And the actors have their own apartments, and they're already living there. So we rent a studio for 2 weeks and get down and rehearse. And they're working off of folding chairs and folding tables, and all the costume fittings are done in New York City. And then, bang, they come on a Sunday and they open on a Monday. It's wild. It's so much fun.
It sounds wild. And where do they stay when they're on the Cape? Do they?
We provide housing, and there are a number of wonderful B&Bs and motels around the Dennis Village area that we place our actors in.
Super. Okay. And maybe you can just tell us quickly what those shows are coming up again.
Sure. 1776 runs July 7th through, I have to look, the 19th, so 2 weeks. And that's the one, if you're going to see one all season, I think that's the nice big musical.
But try and see more than one.
Please. Perfect Wedding follows for 2 weeks, and Pump Boys and Dinettes, and Almost Maine. So Perfect Wedding is a English romantic farce, Pump Boys and Dinettes, a countrified musical, and Almost Maine, a romantic comedy.
Great, and maybe you can give the website address.
Sure. It's, of course, www.capeplayhouse.com. And we do lots of work. It's a whole new website this year. We have a whole new ticketing system this year. Lots of investments. We have a new roof. Our roof started to blow off in March, and so we had to put an entirely new roof on the Playhouse, unexpectedly, actually. So we're investing in the infrastructure to make sure we last for a long time.
Well, super. Very much. Thanks for coming.
Thanks
welcome
so much,
again.
David.
Welcome to the Cape.
Thanks so much.
And I hope our audience will go see some shows at the Cape Cod Playhouse. Thanks. Welcome to Now on Stage, the segment of our program where we bring you the roundup of what's currently on stage at our 24-member theaters. At the Academy Playhouse in Orleans, they have Kander and Ebb's Cabaret. At the Cape Playhouse in Dennis, it's 1776. Cape Rep Theater in Brewster has One Man, Two Governors. Cotuit Center for the Arts in Cotuit is playing The Last 5 Years. Harwich Junior Theater in Harwich has A Wrinkle in Time, and at Monomoy is Blood Knot and Death Trap. Payment Theater will be playing Red, and Peregrine Theater Ensemble, playing at the Provincetown Theater in Provincetown, will have Hamlet and Rent, and Provincetown Theater will also have Snow White and the Seven Bottoms. Theater Workshop of Nantucket will have Black Tie by A.R. Gurney, and Wellfleet Harbor Actors Theater in Wellfleet will have I Am a Camera. That's what's on stage now. Please consult the local websites of your favorite theaters, and I hope to see you at a theater soon. Thanks very much for joining us today. We welcome your comments and suggestions, so please don't hesitate to get in touch at info@capecodlive.org. For a roundup of what's on stage now, visit capecodlive.org, where you can also find the web addresses and box office numbers of your favorite theaters. I hope to see you at the theater soon.